Hey, what's up guys? It's Art Book Addiction here, and we're here with a new artist journey video. So today, we're going to be talking about conventions, okay? Whether you should attend them, okay, as an artist, whether you should table at them, and all the complexities that go along with that, right? Basically, this weekend, I went to a convention. I had a really good time. I spent a decent amount of money on posters and stuff like that, a lot of stuff from the Artist Alley, right? And I wanted to talk about it with you guys, kind of like talk about tabling, the experience behind it, and the experience of being a customer, buying stuff from other people, right? And as an artist, supporting other artists, right? And how important it is, right? So that's what we talk about today. But before we start the video, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, check my Prince and Patreon if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member, and join that Discord, okay? With that, let's get into it. So, tabling, okay, or attending conventions, right? So obviously, the first thing you guys want to know is how much is it going to cost, okay? And all I gotta say is, it's a lot, okay, right? Some conventions, right, like the one I went to, I asked one of the people, it costs about, it was $420, right, $420, right? And that's like, it was kind of like a smaller con, right? I know that some of the bigger cons can get up to like $1,200, right? And quite frankly, there's going to be a lot of other artists there, and you're going to need to have some really great art to stand out, right? That may not always be the case, right? But either way, it's going to cost a decent chunk of change, okay? There's no avoiding that, right? It's going to cost a lot of money, right? And that's just for the spot, right? You also need to get the equipment to table, right? You need to have like a display stand, right? You need to print out your stuff, right? You need to make business cards, right? You need to decide whether you want to make like little charms, or if you want to make stickers, stuff like that. That's all gonna add up, right? Now, if I were to put a price tag on that, right, to get you started, you're looking about like 1,000 to 1,500, right, to get started. You know what I mean? And that's hopefully if you have like some like tables from something else, right? Like there's gonna be outdoor events, so sometimes you're gonna need to buy an easy up, right? Or a what is it? The things that create shade. You know what I mean? You pull them out, and then they have like the shades. It's not like a gondola. It's like not gondola. It's something, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like you go to an outdoor thing, and there's a thing that creates shade, and if you don't have that, your life's gonna suck ass, right? And no one wants to go in because it's hot, right? Depending on where you are, right? So conventions can be very costly, right? And the returns may not be that good, okay? Right? There's some times where you can do really well, right? I've tabled before. I've done, like my work isn't primarily like anime based, right? Or you know what I mean? Like, so like I'm fine art, so like maybe like my work isn't like the best to go to a con for, right? Or to table at a event for, right? Depending on what kind of event it is, right? And I recognize that, right? So maybe if you like did more anime stuff, right, and you went to like a convention, you'll do better. Or you do like comic book stuff, or you do like Marvel shit, right? If you're more of like a fan artist, right, you might have a better chance, right? But either way, no matter what, you're gonna have to eat like at least like 2K to just do like 1 to 2 cons, right? The money aspect is unavoidable, okay, unfortunately, right? And because I've heard people and who do really well, right? Most of those people usually have like a decent following, okay, and people know they're gonna attend the con. And so like I know people who have done really well doing it, right? So it is possible, you know what I mean, right? It's just that the initial startup cost is going to be a little steep, right? And tabling and like paying for a con that you don't know whether you're going to make money or if you're even going to make profit. Most of the time, people are just trying to break even, right? And there's the aspect of setup, right? There's, setting up the stuff, like having to drive in, unload all the stuff, bring it over, right? Finding people to help you out, right? Hopefully you have friends who could help you out who have the time, or you can pay them a little bit, right? I've seen people who have conned at multiple places, right? So it's not entirely horrible, you know what I mean, in terms of unpacking and stuff like that. It's just whether you're capable of doing that, whether you have because I have my hand problems, right? So it's I always needed to have at least one more person to help me set up, right? So that's an aspect that you're gonna have to deal with and think about, right? So for me, tabling was not really the best experience, you know what I mean, right? It was fun because I had my friend there with me, and we would table together, and that was fun, hanging out with your friends. But a lot of times what you're really doing is just sitting in a spot for hours, okay? Sitting in a spot, waiting for someone, trying to determine whether they're a looky-loo or if they're a customer, trying to weigh whether you should interact with somebody or should step back, you know what I mean? There's a lot of aspects to it, you know what I mean? And a lot of people think that when you're just a customer, right? When you're just a person who's just buying stuff, when you look at these things, you kind of look at them and just go oh, well, they're just a table, right? But actually doing it, right? When you think about it, right? It's oh, it's a cool idea, it's a cool thing when you imagine it, right? But when you're actually doing it, it's a lot of hard work, right? And you have to pay this really big upfront fee, and you have to unpack everything, and it's a lot, and you have to wait for up to 8 to 12 hours just sitting in one spot, right? And hope obviously what's fun is when you get to take a break and you get to go around and look at stuff and look for things that you want to buy yourself, right? And that's another aspect, right? Sometimes you could go there, make some money, and then you spend a lot of your money at the con, buying shit of your own, right? And so the profit margin may not be as big as you'd like it to be, right? And again, it is possible to be very successful with this, right? I personally know people who are very successful with it, right? Make a decent chunk of change, right? Like more money than I would have ever expected, right? However, right, there are, when you're an entry level, it's gonna be really difficult, right? And so what I recommend for people is to, establish your fan base, right? This is, that's the hard part, man. You gotta be decently popular, you know what I mean? You need to have a decent following, or at least a style that will attract people to your thing, you know what I mean, right? So there's a lot of things to weigh. There's a lot of things to oh, is this too much? I got a table and it's gonna cost this much. Do I have enough money in my bank account? Will I make money? Will I just break even? Most of the time people just break even, right? So it's you're sinking in money just so that you go and okay, well, I went, that's it, right? And that hurts, okay? It hurts. It really hurts your morale when it comes to selling your artwork, right? And the viability of it, right? So that's another aspect. It's definitely going to be a test of your willingness to go out there and sell your work, and to see whether your work sells or not, right? I'm sure there's people who have tabled with with other artists who maybe people really like their work and not necessarily your work as much, right? So they're just buying their work a bunch, right? I saw this with one of the people that was tabling, right? Where they have the really beautiful, highly rendered artwork, right? And then she did the keychains and did the little charm designs, right? And it was obvious that people were just buying the posters en masse, right? And I saw one of the keychains I really liked, and I decided to buy one, right? and I could tell that she, like, you know, she's smiling. She was really happy that someone was buying her stuff, right? And her keychains are really good. Like, I really like them, right? But like, I would think that maybe she would have done better if she tabled by herself. But then you have to pay double the money, right? You don't split a thing, right? So it's like, it's all these factors, right, that you have to deal with that you don't really think about when you're first initially starting. You're like, you know, I want a table and I want to make money as art. I want to, you know, and it's like, you know, it all sounds really cool idealistically, right? But realistically, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. And you're gonna have to like struggle, you know what I mean, right? And there's gonna be cons where like there's low attendance. There's like barely anybody there. You paid $600 for barely anyone to be there, and they didn't even really care about the thing anyway, right? Like maybe it's just like the anime is just like a side thing, you know what I mean? And there's not that many people, right? I went to this thing called Japan Con or some shit, and it was lame, dude. It was kind of lame, but I felt bad for the artists, right? So I bought stuff from the Artist Alley, right, to help people, but like, you know, that's just me. That's just one guy, you know what I mean, right? And there'll be days, okay, like, you know, there'll be days where you made no money, okay, right? Nobody bought anything, right? People, maybe they and like zero purchases, okay? That can happen, okay? That can happen. That's happened to me, right? And it's awful, like, you know, because some days it's just dead, right? There's nobody here, you know what I mean? You go to maybe you go to like a weekend like Artist Alley thing, and you're like, oh, it's like $50, you know, and it's like, it's super cheap, you know, right? The cheaper ones are a little bit easier to go to, but you still have to do the effort, and you have to sit there for like hours and hours, and you know, maybe people will buy stuff, maybe people won't. You have to look around and see if people are packing up, right? But it's a lot of stress and money, and personally for me, it wasn't worth it, okay, right? That's my call, okay? But again, I know people who have done really well, right? Here are the factors that I would consider good for conning if you if you are in this state, okay? 1, you have a decent following, okay, right? 2, you have an art style that will appeal to people, okay, right? Whether it be fan art, right? You have to be a fan artist, okay? There is original work, okay? There is original work, and I like to buy, but I don't know if other people like to buy. I think people like to buy fan art. They like to buy stuff for the characters that they like, right? But people are willing to buy, you know what I mean? People are willing to buy. It depends on which con you go to, okay? So, the next thing is that you have the confidence to have a bad day, right? Like you're willing to eat those really shit days where you make like no money, dude. You know what I mean? And then like obviously you need some starting money. You need to have like a decent amount of money saved up to try to go for it. You know what I mean? Right? So if you have all those things, right? You know, decent following, art that's going to attract people, right? Good fan art, right? And a lot of it, right? And you're willing to eat shit, right? Then you could do it. You know what I mean? You know, then you could go for it. You could try conning. You could try, and like what I would do if I were you, do it for maybe like a year, maybe 6 months, right? Try it out, right? See how, like, and like the thing is, like, you could do like your regular, like you know, if you're someone who, you know, needs to pay the bills and stuff like that, right? This is not going to pay the bills, okay? Like at the end of the day, this is not going to pay the bills, right? Unless you're a high, you know, you're an artist with a big following, a lot of people coming for your shit, and you're just, you know, you're just selling prints, you know, like, you're not going to be making too much money, okay? Right? And accept that, right? I'm sure there's like a building of momentum aspect, right? But a lot of that is just online, right? So you don't really need to table to do that, right? You know what I mean? But selling prints at a con is where you can make more money, right? But then there's the offset where you have to pay for the spot, right? So it's just, It's a lot of things to balance. You know what I mean? I really okay. So like things like Comic-Con, right? Things like that are more Western based, right? Like Star Wars and stuff like that, right? I feel like those people are not as willing to purchase as anime fans, okay? Right? So if you like, I think the anime aspect is definitely gonna make you more money, okay? Because they're willing to spend more. They're willing, like, they see their favorite artist, they see a poster they like, right? They're gonna buy it, right? So I really recommend, like, you know, for like, especially for anime artists, you know what I mean, right? That you go for those things. You go for anime cons. There's gonna be much more attendance, right? There are, like, you know, I've seen people who, like, you know, they're selling like Marvel stuff. They're selling like DC stuff. You know what I mean? Like comic book, more like westernized like IPs and stuff like that. Those work, right? So like that's okay, right? I would say do more like video game, right? I saw a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 stuff, right? And I loved it, right? Because I see anything Lae'zel, I'll buy it, right? So like do stuff that you like, okay, right? But you're gonna like, you know, like if you're gonna have to do stuff like Genshin Impact or like ZZZ or whatever. I guess that's the new gacha, right? Or Blue Archive or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's all the popular stuff, right? And if you're not into that, if you're not someone who's already kind of like in that fan base, right? And you're not gonna really like to do the artwork, right? Maybe you like a character, maybe you could do that, right? But there's a lot of like Demon Slayer, stuff like that, all the popular shit, My Hero Academia, you know, Naruto, One Piece, stuff like that. Like, you're gonna have to appeal to those fan bases if you're gonna want to make a decent amount of change, right? Original artwork is not as valued in these spaces, right? And then there's like the whole, like, you know, who do you get your prints from? The quality of the print, you know what I mean? Plastic bags, stuff like that, packaging everything, that takes hours and hours of work. Like, you know, there's a lot of work in it, right? But if you have all the right factors, right, and you go to the right place at the right time, maybe you're in a good spot, maybe, you know, you'll, like, there's a couple people at your booth, right, and then like maybe a little line will start forming, and then you'll just start selling those prints, you know, like right? You know, that is when it's at its best, okay, obviously, right? And hopefully what you're doing is you're selling, right? And then, you know, after maybe a couple hours, you go around, look at the con, look at other artists, right? Talk to them, right? And there's some fun in that. There's some fun in the camaraderie of talking to other people who are selling as well, right? So it's a good way to meet other people, and to attend like little cool fun events. And you can look around, you can look at the stage and see, like, you know, oh, there's a music event here, you know, you look at that, you know what I mean, right? It's not that hard to kind of put up a like we'll be back sign, you know what I mean? So, you know, and like, you know, to my knowledge, most time there's nobody gonna be stealing anything, because there's so many people. There will be people who are watching over your shit. You know, you can ask the booth next to you to watch over your shit, right? But most of the time, you know, you don't really gotta worry about that, right? Unless you're like in a crime-ridden area, which I don't think would host an anime event anyway, right? So, with all these factors in mind, okay, right? I would say for most artists, right? Like, again, if you're good, okay, if you have something that you feel like could attract people, and you're willing to sink in some money, right? Give it a shot. You know, this is an expensive give it a shot, right? But it's a cool experience. I think it's worth experiencing as an artist. Maybe you'll do well, you know, right? Like, I didn't do super hot, you know what I mean, a couple years ago, but like I wasn't like totally broke either, you know what I mean? I didn't, like, sometimes I break even, sometimes I make some profit, right? But it's fun to experience it. It's fun to try it out, you know what I mean, right? And, you know, if it's a failed venture, then it's just part of your journey. It was just another phase of your journey, right? So yeah, give it a shot. right? If you have the things that I, the things that I listed, right, you might do pretty well, right? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, if you liked the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, check out my Princeton Patreon if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member, and join that Discord. All that bullshit. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot. Support your other artists and buy shit, okay? Thanks a lot.